These next workings are on the Yuba claim group. This is July 26, 2001. I'm at HA0084. This is the Yuba tunnel of the Yuba group. You can see that the adit here is caved, just a little notch there on the slope, and we've got a little bit of a seep of water coming out here. Probably no more than 1 or 2 gallons a minute at the most. A little pipe sticking out there as well. We're right at the National Forest boundary. There's one of the posts. There's also one on the dump behind me, about halfway down over, or adjacent to the dump. So part of the waste dump may actually be on Forest Service land, and part of this may be on a patented claim. I'm not exactly sure how the boundary runs through here. In any case, that's about all there is right there at the adit. The water comes out, crosses the access road. This is the road that comes in along the Yuba River and turns east along Decker Creek. Water comes out, flows over the bank here, and actually flows down a little ways and then seeps into the slope. The waste dump is this kind of flat out here in front of me. Extends from just on the other side of the pickup there over to here. It's about 95 feet long in the parallel to the road, about 45 feet wide from the road out to this front face. And if I take a look down over, you can see it goes down over here probably a good 50 to 60 feet. I'm sure a little bit trickles down, makes it to creek level, but in all actuality it really doesn't impact the creek at all. The creek seems to be moving across the other side there a little bit right now, and doesn't seem to be eroding this at all. So I'm not going to bother getting a sample here. It's pretty much all granite, a little bit of iron staining, very little. You can see some right here, and that's about it. This road continues on up to the east along Decker Creek, and this is Decker Creek down here below me. Just to the west here is a burnt mill site, and I'll go over and take a look at that. I'm not sure if it's related to the Yuba mine or to some other mines in the area, but it's fairly close to it. In fact, I think if I just kind of zoom in a little bit right down through the trees there, you can see a bare area that is the lower pad of the old mill. So I'll go on down there and we'll get a few photographs of that and some video of it, and we'll see if there's any tailings. I haven't been down there yet, so we'll take a look. If there's tailings, we'll get a sample. It does appear as though the mill site might actually be on Forest Service land. Again, I'm not quite sure how the boundary sits in here. I've come down to nearly to the mill, and this is looking back toward the waste dump for the Yuba tunnel. It's basically right behind this little group of trees, slopes off down behind this group of trees right here. And you can see the old stone foundation over here. This is pretty well built. Looks like they were shaped granite blocks. Pretty nicely made. Goes on down, and then down here at the bottom there's actually some concrete footings or pad there, and some more concrete down below here, a couple of pieces down over there. I haven't been down again yet, so I'll go down and see. This area here in the middle looks like it might be some jig tailings, possibly flotation tails, but don't know if they had a flotation mill in here or not. So we'll go on down and see what's down there. I'm down here at the mill. The road is just above that rock right there, above this uppermost wall. And there really isn't any concrete here. I thought it looked like some concrete, but all of these footings and walls are built out of granite blocks. The one that was over here is actually granite block with some bolts embedded in it. These do look like flotation tails here on top. Looks like it's about a foot thick, probably about 25 feet by 25 feet square, and that's about it. It's built out onto this flat, which may have some of this finer stuff, may be jig tails, but it may just be material that they brought in here to kind of fill as well. So I'm just going to get a sample of this upper stuff. I don't think we really need to. This bottom stuff is pretty much all just crushed granite. Can't really tell too much about what this looked like. You can see a lot of scrap metal around, that sort of thing, but for the most part it's pretty well been burnt and is out of here. The creek is down here. Again, does not impact anything. As far as these tailings go, they're well above creek level, even at flood stage. Again, you can see some more scrap metal and things down here along the creek. Well, I think what I'll do for water samples, since these are fairly close to the creek and the waste dump does almost make it to the creek and the adit water almost makes it to the creek, I think what I'll do is sample Decker Creek up above the Minerva tailings, which are up the road here about a mile, kind of get a reference sample up above those. And then I'll also take one down here where Trail Creek and Decker Creek merge to become the Yuba River, and that should kind of give us a good downstream sample for this for the Decker Creek drainage here. I think that's about all there is to show here, so I'll go ahead and take some still photos and get the sample here, and then we'll go on up and look at the Minerva tailings. I'm still here at the Yuba Tunnel Mill site, and I just wanted to show that this is the Forest Service boundary, and it cuts almost halfway through the tailings here. So it appears as some of these tailings are on Forest Service land and some are probably on patented claims. I think this is the boundary is Forest Service land behind this sign toward Decker Creek. So it would be this little patch out here where my rock hammer is, and back this way about 10 feet or so. Then they extend on over right to the base of this wall. Okay, well that'll pretty well wrap this up and we'll move along. This is July 26, 2001. I'm at an unknown prospect here. I'm not sure what the number is, although it might actually be part of the Yuba group, which is I believe HA0084. I went ahead and gave it a site number of K7260115. It's a small prospect adit that's caved. Looking down, this is the waste dump. You can see these trees that are burnt are not real big, but the dump's been here for quite a while. Trail Creek Road is just down below me here. The road passes just below the dump a little ways, and then Trail Creek is off on the other side of the road, so this doesn't impact the creek at all. It's totally caved. There's a mine rail up here on the dump coming out, and but other than that, it's just kind of a little slough on the hillside here, nothing really to see it. First I thought it was just a little wash coming out of the gully. I can see something way up through the trees, and I'm not going to get to that today. I can't tell if that's a granite outcrop or whether there's a waste dump up there, but there is the possibility that there might be something else up there. In any case, we'll try to take care of that some other day, and that's about all there is to show right here. Guess the only other thing would be a little bit of scrap metal kind of lying down here on the dump. Pretty well burnt up, and not much else to see. This is an unnamed site. Its number will be E008415-1. We're looking approximately south. It's a large flat area just about where the confluence of Decker Creek and the Yuba River come together. It's just below the confluence and above the road that goes up the Yuba River and then on up Decker Creek. Again, we're looking south on this large flat. There's some multiple pits right on the west side of the flat. I'm not sure what they're all about. The same size, probably 4, 5, 6 feet in diameter and a couple feet deep. They just run right along parallel to the road. Whole series of them. It's hard to say exactly what they are, but they pretty uniformly spaced and uniform size going along the one edge of the dump. They may have been for samples. This may be tailings of some sort. There may have been a mill here. We'll turn around and look more to the east and see what brought our interest into this area. There's a large retaining wall here. We're turning around more to the east. Again, if you look up into the shadows there, it's kind of hard to see, but there's about a 4 or 5 foot rock retaining wall right at the foot of the hill. We'll go up and get a little bit better look at it. There are a series of terraces, as you can probably see, sort of coming up the hill up to that retaining wall. We'll get a little better look at those also. We'll turn around and look back to the north and from about on one of those terraces. Here we're on the north end of that flat, and just above it on the east side, you can see we're the flat down here working along basically to the east. We're looking right parallel to one of the terraces. You get on up, there's another terrace, and there's that retaining wall that we saw from the other side. Kind of a nice hand set rock wall just right along the foot of the hill there. It's hard to say what it was for. If there was a mill here, it was a very small one. There's nothing really above this, no superstructure on up there or any indication of a mill, and it's real hard to say exactly what was the purpose of all this work here. But just to document what we saw, that it could conceivably have been a mill or some kind of a site like that. And this may be tailings. I don't think so. I dug around in there and it doesn't really look like any kind of mill tailings, either jig or flotation tails. So no sample was taken here, but we have the site documented and located, and that should be sufficient for right now. So this will be it for site E80101-1.